So it finally happened. Season 4 is out and it was an amazing experience. But I want to concentrate on a very specific part of Season 4 today. And that's Raylum. If you're following me for a while, especially on Twitter, you might have noticed I'm a big Raylum fan. So it would only be logical for me to dislike this season, with no Raylum kisses and the both of them barely looking at each other for half the season. But actually I'm really glad it played out the way it did. And that's exactly what I'm gonna talk about today. Under any other circumstances, I would have loved seeing Raylum together and happy and kissing, but I'm actually really glad that didn't happen in Season 4, because Rayla really hurt Callum. It would have been strange to see them pretend like nothing at all happened. It's like Callum says in the show,
"Things aren't like they were. She messed them up."
On the other hand, I'm also glad the writers didn't decide to start unnecessary arguments between the two, like we're so used to in movies and TV shows. They behave maturely and naturally, hurt but not out to hurt each other anymore. They're actually trying to work things out between themselves. Rayla returns to Callum knowing full well that she hurt him, but she doesn't expect him to forgive her right away. She knows that he needs time accepting her again, and that she needs time trying to make up for her mistake. Of course, Callum is angry, only half-heartedly, trying to get away from her at first, but he also still loves her. He does lash out at her a few times, but Ezrin and Soren are always there to calm them down and de-escalate the situation. But these outbursts from Callum also show Rayla how much she's hurt him. It helps her realize that what she has seen all her life is wrong. To understand what I mean, let's take a look at the graphic novel, Blood Moon Huntress. Since Rayla was little, she was taught that protecting your loved ones was worth sacrificing a life with them. That's what her parents told her when they joined the Dragon Guard. They were leaving for Rayla, to protect her. Back then, she was in a similar situation as Callum is now, heartbroken by her parents, who just left her behind to protect her. It didn't make sense back then. How could they protect her if they were hurting her at the same time? But later in Blood Moon Huntress, Ithari explains to her that Runan and her parents do what they do, leaving their loved ones to kill or possibly be killed to protect them and everyone else. That being away from their loved ones is a sacrifice they're making for the greater good of all people. By leaving them through the moon, Rayla is stepping into her parents' footprints without necessarily realizing just how much they hurt her back then, how much she would hurt Callum. But I think at some point she did understand. She realizes that she didn't protect her love as much as she hurt him, and on top of that, she hasn't come any closer to her goal, finding and killing Viren for good. She still loves Callum and she's longing for him too, so she returns. But she doesn't expect everything to immediately go back to how things used to be. Sure, she approaches Callum, maybe pushes him to spend some time with her again, but it's all handled very maturely and naturally. The further the season progresses, the closer they grow, the more smiles and laughters and happy moments they share. But what happens in the last episode of Season 4 is maybe the most important thing. In the last episode, Rayla and Callum spot Viren and realize that he really is alive again. Rayla looks at Callum and tells him that she needs to leave again, to finish her job. She knows how much she hurts him by leaving him again, but he tells her that he understands and signals her to go. So she follows Viren and runs into Claudia, who eventually returns her parents and Renan to her. Inside coins. These three elves were her role models for most of her life. They were the ones who showed her that leaving your loved ones was worth protecting them. But seeing them inside of those coins, Rayla realizes how much more they hurt the people they cared about by sacrificing themselves. She has the option to follow Terry, Claudia and Viren like she'd originally planned, but after realizing how much pain she would cause Callum again, and how much more pain he would be in if something actually happened to her this time, like it did to her parents, she turns around and returns to her family. To Callum, and hopefully for good.